Hi, everybody. We are here with Professor Uriel Reichman, the president and the founder of the IDC Herzaliya. We wanted to start by asking you, how do you think Israel is represented in the world's media?
Well, usually we have enormous problems. First of all, there are many more Arabic-speaking people and Muslims in the world than Jews and definitely Israelis. And in many countries have political and other interests and commercial interests that are influenced by the position of the Palestinian as is viewed by the Arab countries and the Muslim countries. For example, in a country where important enough part of the voters are Muslims, there will be a tendency to overrepresent as a side of the Muslim population. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, even like a BBC, broadcasting services, have very important interest in reaching out to Arabs, to Muslim countries and Arabic-speaking countries, and so on and so forth. So there is a tendency from the beginning to overrepresent the Palestinian side vis-a-vis Israel. And they have, of course, great input from African countries and other places, which try to misleadingly identify the struggle of the blacks versus the whites in South Africa as being similar to what's happening here, which is, of course, nonsense, but entirely different. So we are starting with a very problematic situation. Now, on top of it, it's easier to identify with when you see a Palestinian child being hurt or killed, than with the Israeli side, that what you can show usually is only that they run into the shelters. It's much more complicated to explain the very vulnerable situation that Israel is positioned in. After all, we are a small country. A small percentage of the Muslim world, surrounded by enormous animosity and violent activities. And there is no other than we ourselves to defend ourselves. So it's that perception is very difficult to convey because Israel is perceived as a strong country. And it's right, you know, through the dedication of the people, we are able to defend ourselves. But after all, each and every one of us is living, especially we are older generation, are living through violence all our lives. I can tell you, you know, I was born in 1942. As a child, my early childhood has still memories from Second World War. The stories, at 3 years old, I heard the stories about what's happened in the Second World War. And later on, the War of Independence and the 56 Sinai campaign.
Well, you've really been through a lot.
And everything since then. So that's a kind of life that we live, and that has to be explained to the world.
Okay, so what do you think, what has the IDC done to help out in this situation?
IDC is a special place. We define ourselves as a Zionist university. A university, our credo, our vision is defined as follows: to establish a world-class interdisciplinary university that will help Israel and the Jewish people. There is no other academic institution that is its vision. And we believe very much in our main mission in educating the future leadership of our nation. And in order to do so, we expect our students to take initiative. And we do it in so many areas throughout our regular life. There are about 60 different projects run by students at IDC that are helping the various communities that need help. And of course, it happened even in the 3 prior wars in the life of IDC, that whenever there is such a situation, we take advantage on, and the students organize it.
From what we understood, they made a control room here in the IDC.
Yeah,
itself.
Of course. We built, the students actually started it based on our past experience and on the very fact that there is no other institution that can do what we can do. Namely, since we have 1,600 students from 85 different countries, we are able to broadcast and to use the social network to speak in 22 different languages. And our students volunteer to work around the clock and convey the message of Israel to the respective countries from which they came. And we were able also to call our graduates from the international programs that are spread all over the world and ask them to provide a help to convey the message of Israel. And it was done enormously successful. And unfortunately, there is no other place in this country that can do the job as we do.
There's the Foreign Ministry, there's the Ministry of Hasbara, there's the IDF Spokesman's Unit. Like, what exactly are the students in IDC doing different that's really making a difference?
How is the Hasbara effort?
The Israeli Hasbara efforts are unable to put such a magnificent job as we are doing.
Right.
Namely, they cannot have hundreds of volunteers that we have. They cannot broadcast in 22 different languages. Yeah. And they don't have the network of students. Every student that is coming from abroad and studying now at IDC has friends and can use the social networks. And through his or her acquaintances, you spread the word through the social network all over. And on top of it, we have our graduates. So immediately, you are able to expose a message to millions of people simply by having people that come from the various countries. It's not only the knowledge of languages, but it's the knowledge of culture. The fact that we are speaking with the younger generation that are able to communicate in the modern way and can convey the message to their friends. All of it made IDC a premier source to do the job, which no other can do it in Israel. And as a matter of fact, what is interesting, that even in Dover Tzahal and in other places, many of the people that do the job today are graduates of the School of Communication of IDC.
Wow. We understand that President Peres has called you to thank you about the Hamal. How does it feel that during these times he's taking the time to call you and thank you about all the contribution?
Well, I met him yesterday in his office in Jerusalem, and he definitely asked to convey his gratitude and appreciation for the job that our students are doing. The same happened with the Prime Minister of Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, that called our students and also expresses gratitude as the Minister of Hasbara and others. It is a job well done and very appreciated.
Great. Okay. We wanted to thank you for giving us your time, also for letting all the students use the great facilities here in the IDC for this great cause. Thank you so much.
Well, you shouldn't thank me. I'm thanking the students and really expressing the best of the spirit of IDC.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you very much for what you are doing.
All right. Have a good day.
Okay. We are now going live to talk to David. who is now he's a student here in the IDC, who is now in Be'er Sheva. He's shooting a movie about the civil life in Be'er Sheva during these times. I understand David is not with us yet. He's doing a great movie. He's doing great work. He's now over there in the line of fire.
Oh, wow. And we have people here in the Hamal, in IDC, in the control room, and they have, there's a lot of different sections of it. There's a lot of people in charge of about the media, and there's people sending out the messages. There's people translating all these messages into different language, sending them out to Spain, to England, to African countries, to all around the world, and that's really amazing. And we have David in Beersheba, who's there representing us, and he's actually feeling what the Israelis of the South are feeling right now. So we're trying to get through to him.
David, can you hear us?
Yeah, David? I can hear you.
Hi,
okay,
David.
great.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. You are now in Be'er Sheva, literally in the line of fire. What does it feel? Can you see people in the street? Is there panic?
Well, people are relatively calm. There were people thought there was going to be a ceasefire this morning, which didn't happen. There apparently I just heard there's a casualty in Kibbutz Asht. Rocket just fell there. But people here in Be'er Sheva are relatively calm. People are just leading their lives, walking in the streets.
You don't see any sort of difference of the life, the day-to-day, the lives of the citizens. You're saying that everything's like going on as normal?
People are a little bit more jumpy. We talked to a few of them, and they're, sometimes when you hear a buzz going by, it sounds like it can sound like the alarm going off. It can sound like the alarm going off. So they'll look around them and check what it is.
How long do you have to get to How long do you have to get to bomb shelter if you hear the siren go off?
It depends, but usually it's around 15 seconds that you have at the time. So yeah, you have to be pretty fast.
I understand. Are you scared? Do you feel scared that you're in Be'er Sheva and not safe?
I wouldn't say scared. I feel tense. Yeah, tense would be the right word.
Both me and Danielle, we have friends from the south who came up to the Merkaz, who came up to Herzaliya because they were scared of the situation. What are you doing there exactly? Like, what is your job, and how are you feeling?
I mean, I have to be honest. I can understand it if you live here, and you have to be in this. You have to be in here. You have to be here 24/7. I wouldn't want to be here. I mean, just this morning, 10 rockets landed in Be'er Sheva. One hit a soccer field, one hit a house, one landed in an open field. I mean, it's not a way to live. It's chaotic. We're here to show what's going on.
Tell us about the movie you're shooting.
Well, we're planning on making a short documentary showing what it is as an American. We have here Josh with us. We have here Josh with us.
How's it going?
Hi, Josh.
Who is mostly speaking on camera. So yeah, we want to show the Americans, we want to show the Western world what it is to live here in southern Israel.
That's a great cause.
That is a great cause.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, and good luck down there.
Thanks. Thank you.
Pardon? What was the last thing you just said?
What? Sorry,
what was the last thing you just said?
Thank you. I said thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
great.
I mean, you have us we're praying for you every single day, for your safety.
There's some background noise here. Buses are driving by.
Were you in Be'er Sheva when the alarm had sounded, or this morning?
This morning, yes, we were here when the alarm went off. Yes.
And did you have a shelter to run to, or were you in the street and just?
We just ran into the mall behind us.
We ran into the mall behind us. you can see it behind. I don't know if you can see it, but there's over there. There's a mall. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. And from what we understood, they have there's an Iron Dome there in the area of Beersheba. Have you seen any of the rockets being intercepted? Anything in the air itself?
Sorry.
Have you seen the bombs, the Iron Dome in action? In action?
We saw it yesterday. We were in Ashdod, and we were filming elderly people who don't have the ability to run for shelter, and we were standing next to them basically taking shelter under a bench, and the Kippat Barzel came in action like right on top of our heads, basically.
We understand that...
We just got an update that there's a Tzeva Adom, a red alert now in Se'elim, which is close to Beersheba. Do you hear it from there?
Excuse me, can you say it again?
We just got an update. We received an update that there's a Tzeva Adom, a red alert right now in Se'elim, which is near Beersheba. Can you hear it from there?
We don't hear anything from here, but we're aware of the Tzeva Adom, yeah.
But you didn't hear it?
No.
Okay.
When are you gonna come back to the center?
You would probably hear it on Skype if we could hear it.
Yeah. When are you coming back to... Sorry?
We're coming back in a few hours, probably.
And tomorrow you're going again to the... You're staying in the center?
We may, but it's not sure yet. Depends on a few things.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. And obviously we have you in our prayers every day. And stay safe.
Wish you good luck.
We wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, this was David. Very interesting, very brave of him to go to Beersheba at that time. Good cause. And we want to talk about how do you think the Israelis representative? I mean, you're not an Israeli. You're from Toronto, right?
Toronto.
Yeah. And when you lived there, how do you think that Israel was represented?
It's interesting. I mean, for us in Canada, our Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, he's very pro-Israel, and he's very close with Netanyahu, and he said every single time that he always has Israel's back. So for me, being a Canadian, that makes me really proud. I think it's probably one of the only main countries in the world which always has had Israel's back in every sort of situation.
Absolutely.
So that's really meaningful. My friends who are back in Toronto now, they told me recently, actually, there was a rally in Toronto. They had about 300 Muslims or other people also who were protesting against Israel and against what the Prime Minister has been saying. So my friends actually went out there with flags and they rallied against them, and they were, they were just trying to explain like their side of the story and showing a lot of energy and ruach and really showing their support for Israel.
That's wonderful.
So yeah, that was really nice to see.
Are your parents scared? Did they call you and ask you to come back home? Or?
Yeah, they call me like every 5 minutes. Yeah, no, they call me every few hours, just making sure I'm okay. I volunteer as a medic in Magen David Adom, so I might be getting sent out to the south soon to volunteer there and to do a shift, in case in response if there's any sort of rockets. So for that, obviously they're really scared and they're nervous, but they're proud. Am I as nervous? No. This is what I got to do. This is my job and this is what I believe in. And yeah, that's it. What else? What do you think about this whole situation? You're an Israeli here living in Israel. Like, what do you feel about the situation?
Sometimes I really feel frustrated about how Israel is represented in the media, in the world's media. I mean, there are different kind of media, and different people are showing different things that not always are correct. I mean, CNN might show one thing, Fox might show another.
Total opposite thing.
Exactly, and it's hard. I can see how it's hard to the outside world to understand what's really is going on, because one is showing how Gaza is being bombed, and one is showing how Israel is being bombed. It's very different, and
okay. But you're a second-year communication student, right?
That's true.
In the IDC, and you're in the Israeli program, right?
That's true.
So do you guys learn about it? Do you talk about it in your classes? You know, communications, it's about new media, it's about the world. Like what have you guys learned about it so far?
We are talking about it. Today we had a class about how Israel is represented and how everybody has a different point of view about what is going on here in Gaza and here in Israel. Yeah.
You know, I mean, we have the Israel Under Fire webpage, which, as we see, and you know, the Facebook likes have gone up like crazy. You know, it started last week. I saw only about 1,000 views or hits on it, and now there's over 16 or 17,000, which is really amazing.
It is amazing to see how Facebook has become a part of this war. I mean, I can tell that I can tell you about myself and my friends. We're not going to necessarily to see Arutz 2 or Ynet. First of all, we go to Facebook.
When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do before checking the news, you check the Facebook.
And not because we want to know what our friend has been doing, but to see who's been called to reserve, who's been called to Gaza, to the war, what has been going on. I mean, I get most of my information. I get it from Facebook, and it's so different from like years before.
Right. Yeah.
Everything
it's all the media these days, huh?
Yeah, the media has absolutely have changed.
Yeah, it's interesting. Were you involved in the Hamal at all?
Well.
Oh, okay.
Right
We
now,
just got an update. Yes,
we're gonna talk to Dr. Oren Zuckerman next, who is actually a teacher here in the IDC. He's teaching new media, so he can tell us a little bit more about how the Facebook and Twitter has changed the communication. We'll be speaking to him next. We're waiting for him.
Okay.
It's really an interesting subject, how the new media is taking a role in the war.
Yeah.
And here it is right now.
Hi, Professor.
How are you?
Hi. Great. Josh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Just Danielle. Welcome.
Thank you.
So as I was saying, this is Dr. Oren Zuckerman.
Hi everyone.
We wanted to ask you how does new media is playing a role in today's operation, and what is the importance of new media?
So I think new media is really critical in the operation from several aspects. One is allowing people which are, I would say, relatively on the minority or have less of a way to communicate to large audiences, to use a network and the distribution aspect of the network to, state their word, state their opinion. And this brings us very fascinating facts and experiences from the field. So it can be a soldier in the IDF armies that posts a picture. It can be a child in a city that's under fire that shares their experiences, or it can be Palestinian on the Arab side on Gaza that shares their experiences on the other side. And for us as Israelis, for example, suddenly it gives another perspective on what's going on. So I think it can, definitely serve both sides in the conflict in this way as a communication channel. And I think for all of us, it's an amazing opportunity to see the influence of social media.
Right. I mean, the situation of the media, like from 10, 20 years ago, it's changed a lot, right? Mm-hmm. From the people who wanted to get involved in the past, they couldn't really get involved. Like the people who were involved were the people up top and the high leaders.
Right.
So how has that affected this whole situation here?
Yeah, I would say it's rather, the people on the top is one way to describe it, but you can also call it the gatekeepers. And as soon as the traditional communication channels have gatekeepers, and then the gatekeepers control what's going to be said and what's not. It's not really freedom of speech, but somebody manipulates the message. Somebody decides what's the agenda. And then all of us as the audience, we receive this message and we don't really know how to judge it. Is it the truth? Is it something that's manipulated? So, of course, every message is manipulated. And also when we don't have gatekeepers, people can, make any claims they want, especially on social media. But that said, it's, if we put our critical thinking head in there, and hopefully a lot of people right now are already know how to use the internet. They know how to look at several sources and try to understand is this claim that this specific Twitter person on Twitter is claiming, is it true or not? We have enough tools and ability to investigate and check it for ourselves. So I would say yes, definitely it's a major transition that there are less gatekeepers. It means a lot of noise. Thing. I think it's a very good thing because it's very democratic and very open. It doesn't make life easier for us because we have to process a lot of information and nobody makes a decision for us in telling us this is the truth.
Right.
On the other hand, I definitely prefer it because it puts us in the, more critically thinking, seat. and tell us, you decide, you make your research, you check. So, Twitter is there, Facebook is there, the web is there, check, read some blog, check, follow some people, and make your own decision based on the information you got. What do you think, what's going on, what is the situation?
I see. People are calling this Twitter war.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
So I think first of all, I think they're right. I think that we definitely see it happening. I'll say what they mean and also what I would like to see more that I don't think we see enough. So what they mean is that people use the Twitter platform as, a way for organizations and people from both sides to fight over Twitter, not so much to fight with each other, which we don't see a lot, but more to fight on public opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Spokesperson can just it's very strong. Have this voice. Discussion. The organization brands that many brands cannot really share everything, and you want to ask a specific company how do they manufacture the stuff, and you find out that it's in a factory in the Far East and they don't want to share this information, so suddenly there's silence and you understand that you got into an area that's limited, no access. Same thing would happen here, and I would like to see this type of things happening, although it's very challenging for the people that need to write on Twitter and to really communicate how to solve these situations. But I think that's what we want to see, because that's what the internet is all about. It's about two-way communication and multi-way communication.
It's interesting because back in the day, the way to win a war is by beating the other people's army. And nowadays it's a social media, it's a new media war.
Right. I would say it's social media, it's public opinion. Public opinion was also important back then. It was always important. But right now public opinion is so hard to control. Before that it was easier to control because you had the gatekeepers on the communication channels. Now it's just so hard.
So let's say one person, one student, let's say in the IDC, wants to really make a difference. He has his laptop, he has his iPod, his iPhone. What can he do to really?
So excellent question. I think there are several things. First of all, just to share his or her own experiences in an authentic, unbiased way. Just state what you know, what you experienced, not what you think is going to happen. Don't analyze TV or analyze an expert. Just, I live in Tel Aviv, I have 2 kids, when I hear the siren, I get into panic, I have to take care of my kids, it never happened to me before.
So personal experiences.
Yeah, that would be my personal situation, and I would like to share it with the world, and that would be interesting for people. That would be authentic and interesting.
But what's scary?
The other thing that I think for me is very critical to state, on the stage here is really that engage in discussions. In a way, don't provoke, don't do it in a negative way, but do challenge people into a discussion. So if somebody is from Gaza is stating, look what happened, and I'm very frustrated with it, and stop Israel, and that's not not acceptable, I would challenge them and say, let's explain to me exactly what happened, and then let's look at the IDF. spokesperson. We have them right here on Twitter. Let's ask them. So you claim 1, 2, 3. Let's ask them what happened, and let's see if they can issue maybe a video that shows something else. You know, we can all just state our minds on Twitter, but let's start to confront facts and let's try to engage in a discussion.
There are a lot of lies going on in Facebook and in Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's hard to people, they see it, how do they know if it's true, if it's not true?
For example, that case in Gaza, there's the girl who's tweeting with thousands of views. How do we know that that's not someone, you know, plugging words into her mouth?
Right.
Exactly.
So that's one thing that's hard to understand, who is the authenticity of the person on the other side. But I think there are also things that are much more on the surface, or even like, you know, like for example, we have just disinformation that is clearly, like Hamas stated in the second or third day, that they downed an F-16.
Right.
And I followed a lot of Twitter sources, and I was pretty positive that that's what's happened, and that the IDF is hiding it because they might not want to share it. And then I waited a day, and then it went another, and it didn't happen. And I assumed, okay, they can't, you know, not share this type of information for such a long time. So clearly, it's a lie.
But you live here in Israel. People in the world, they won't necessarily know that.
Yeah, I think it's very hard to solve these things. It's very hard to know. You know, you need to do your research. In some places, you're gonna stay still with unclear answer.
Right.
About your, but still, I think you can engage in discussions. Again, you can start to look for the facts. So, okay, you say that. Okay, but what facts do you hold? You know, share. I want to understand. I really want to know. You don't object to a person's opinion. You say, okay, that's your opinion. I respect it for now. Give me the facts, and then you go to the other side and ask it. And that's, you know, is an amazing thing. Like, so, you know, I'm expecting, again, as somebody that really look at the internet as the platform for communication to happen. In a way, we could start to see organizations. So in a way, the IDF spokesperson, Azadin and Qassam brigades can start to speak together on Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, that would be just amazing, right? And it can happen, you know. So it doesn't mean it's going to change anything, but it's still something that might be very interesting. Yes. I'm expecting, and I want to see more of this thing happening on the individual level. So if I can talk to a person in Gaza, all of you can also talk to people in Gaza and start to see what's going on and how we can, you know, just get a better perspective on the reality in both
You're really
situations.
looking into the future. That's
I don't know. I think it happens. It just doesn't happen a lot.
Doesn't happen enough.
I'll follow up. I'll continue with your words on the, you know, advice for people. What can they do? So the first one would be just share authentic and personal experience. The second one would be engage in engage in conversation and go to the top Twitters. You know, that's easy today to see how many followers people have. So try to find the top Twitters in Israel and the top Twitters in Gaza, and try to engage both of them. Don't try to make them talk to each other. No, that's not the idea, but try to engage each one and engage in a conversation. And here's the main tip is that you can, in a way, ride on the popularity or on the interest in other people. And that's also that the internet can give people, you know, an amazing tool, an amazing leverage in that sense. So if I have a message, let's say I have a picture that's really, you know, shocking or just really interesting or really mind-opening, and I'm sharing it from my own Twitter account. So how many people are going to see it? You know, not too many. But if I go right now and post it as a retweet or as a question or as a reply to somebody that's very active, then suddenly all of his audiences are going to see it if he's going to retweet and share it.
That's a great advice.
Yeah. So if he's sharing it, suddenly I can get all of this huge traffic like this with no, you know, effort at all.
You know, I mean, on our Israel Under Fire Facebook page, as we were saying, we already have over 17,000 views and likes, and that's what's happening. We're sharing a picture, and then, you know, other people are sharing it, other people. There's hundreds of shares on every single picture.
Yeah. So my advice for your page would be to engage in deliberate discussions with the top Twitters, both in Israel and in Gaza.
Yeah. Great.
But not try to confront them, not try to create, you know, a confrontation, but try to, you know, start with the things that are acceptable by everyone, with the facts that are clear, and then try to, you know, just discuss the, you know, the main opinions. Where, you know, why do you think what you think? What facts do you base on?
So thank you so much.
Thank you
really
so much.
Appreciate it.
Great to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Excellent.
And
thank you.
Continue the great work.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you later on. Have a good day.
Bye.